Welcome back. Turkey has reportedly dispatched a convoy of over 40 military vehicles and tanks to the southern region along the Syrian frontier amid growing Ankara-Washington tensions over a U.S. plan to create a border force at the Turkey's doorstep. The U.S. infuriated its NATO partner Turkey on Sunday by announcing that Washington and a coalition of its allies purportedly fighting Daesh will work with U.S.-backed militants of the Syrian Democratic Forces (SDF) to set up a new 30,000-strong border security force which would operate along the Turkish border with Iraq and within Syria along the Euphrates River. Washington stressed that it's supplying weapons and training to anti-Damascus militants of the Kurdish People's Protection Unit, the SDF's main backbone, but Turkey views the YPG as a terrorist group and the Syria arm of the homegrown Kurdish Workers' Party (PKK), which has been fighting for independence over the past decades. The US had promised to take back the weapons from Kurdish militants once Daesh falls. Reacting to the U.S. military's announcement, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said Washington is building an army of terror on the border with Syria and that it is our responsibility to suffocate this effort before it is born. He also threatened an attack on Afrin in the days ahead to clear the northwestern Syrian town of terrorists, which is controlled by Kurdish militants. Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu echoed Erdogan's remarks, urging the U.S. to clarify its stance. In August 2016, Turkey began a unilateral military intervention in North Syria, code-named Operation Euphrates Shield. Ankara said the campaign was aimed at pushing Daesh terrorists from Turkey's border with Syria and stopping the advance of Kurdish forces. President Donald Trump has said he was totally misrepresented by those saying he used the term shithole to describe African nations last week, adding that the allegation was hurting efforts to strike a deal to protect so-called dreamer immigrants while responding to a claim by Democratic Senator Dick Durbin that he used vile and racist language during a meeting on immigration reform. The alleged remarks sparked global outrage and demands that he apologizes. On Monday, two senators who said he indeed used the disparaging remarks stood by their accounts of what took place. The row broke out after Republican and Democratic lawmakers visited the president in the Oval Office on Thursday to work on a proposal for an immigration deal. In recent weeks, the Trump administration has made a series of announcements that have brought that status to an end. Mr. Trump responded by saying his language was tough, but not the language used in the news report, as he also denied he was a racist, and he tweeted on Monday that Mr. Durbin had totally misrepresented what was said. He also blamed the Democratic senator for the apparent impasse over negotiations to reach a solution on the Dreamers. The two sides in the row became more entrenched on Monday, with Mr. Graham appearing to challenge colleagues Perdue and Cotton by saying his memory had not evolved. And Mr. Durbin also said he stood behind every word and rejected reports that perhaps Mr. Trump said shithouse instead. Nigeria Referees Association (NRA) President Tad Aziz condemned attacks on some referees at the Premier League opening games. More on this when we join Stanley for Sport News.
Well, thank you, Faith. For some sports stories, the Nigerian Referees Association President Tad Aziz has expressed his displeasure over the alleged attacks on some referees at the Premier League opening games. The NRA boss spoke in a statement by the association's National Publicity Secretary, Kelechi Mejubu, on Monday. President Aziz said in a statement that there were reported cases of violence in some venues with a reference to the First League match between Katsina United and Kano Pillars in Katsina. Aziz said the attention of NRA has been drawn to the unpalatable incidents trailing the kickoff of the NPFL that was played on Saturday and Sunday, as referees were on duty in some centers received pockets of unsavory treatments that pose danger to the lives of the match officials on the games ahead. The referees body, which is nearly monitoring the situation by following the cases of the victims, sympathizes with their injured members, stressing that they are expecting the report of the incidents to be sent to appropriate quarters for further actions. And the British #1 Johanna Konta made swift progress into the second round of the Australian Open with victory over American Madison Bringley. Konta seeded ninth, won 6-3, 6-1 in Hisen's Arena, the third show court at Melbourne Park, while the Briton had lost 3 of their 4 previous matches but was far too strong for the world number 90 this time. Konta 26 goes on to face American Bernarda Pera, the world number 123, in round 2. Konta's rise through the rankings over the past 2 years has been such that despite now being well established at the top 10, she is making only her 3rd appearance in the main draw. She has plenty to live up to after reaching the semi-finals in 2016 and quarter-finals in 2017, both times losing to an eventual champion. After a worrying end to the last season that saw her lose 5 matches in a row, Konta appears to be back on track under the guidance of new coach Marco Joyce. And with that sports story, we come to the end of today's news bulletin. A quick recap of our major stories just before we go. The Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom insists that the state does not have land for the establishment of cattle colonies. On business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has commenced direct supply of premium motor spirits, popularly known as petrol, to independent oil marketers. On the foreign scene, Turkey has reportedly dispatched a convoy of over 40 military vehicles and tanks to the southern regions along the Syrian frontier. And in the world of sports, Nigerian Referees Association President Ted Aziz condemned attacks on some referees at the Premier League opening games. Well, thanks for watching the African Broadcasting Network News. Remember, for more information and news relay, you can follow us on our social media platform by visiting our website at www.africanbroadcastingnetwork.com. Follow us on Instagram at ABN Channels, like us on Facebook at ABN TV, and kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel on African Broadcasting Network. I am Stanley Affair. Many thanks for watching, and do have a lovely day. Bye-bye.